BGD BASE 3! So this time we're talking to you about the BGD BASE 3.
Are you in the right position there?
Oh, am I in the right position? I don't know. The BASE 3 is kind of from development that started with the DIVA 2. You can definitely see that the genes of the DIVA 2 are in the BASE 3, but they haven't it's not just a DIVA 2 that's kind of lower aspect ratio. They've changed how the glider, how some aspects of it, how he feels and how it flies to make it suit the class. Actually, I think the pilot demands are very similar to its predecessor, the BASE 2, but the glider itself is very different. So if you're someone flying a BASE 2 and thinking, oh, I'm going to go to the BASE 3, it'll be similar. It's a very different glider, I think. So totally different. But the pilot demands are very similar, which I find is kind of at the lower end of the high B.
Agreed. Yes. Yeah. It doesn't have. It's not demanding, and it doesn't feel like, okay, I really got to step up my game to high B here. It's giving you the performance of a high B, but actually making it more comfortable. Essentially,
I think it's a really great high B wing with pilot demands at the lower end. I do call it a high B wing. I'm going to keep it in that class with the aspect ratio and everything like that.
It's been great for cross country flying, but also fun for soaring and playfulness around the hill.
Yeah, and for, like you say, it's a great cross country glider, but also just for local flying, I've had really great flights because it makes use of really good light conditions and it's really good in strong conditions, very good glide. I've been just playing around on takeoff, getting up, pushing out front and sort of exploring around the air, and you come back to take off and it's really good. So I think overall I have to give it very big thumbs up. And so particularly for pilots who are looking to go into the high B class or are in the high B class and looking for a wing that's is solid and reassuring, but at the same time gives good feedback and good handling and very, very good performance. It's got very impressive performance.
Yeah. And if you're somebody who just likes to have that nice, easy climb rate, well, it should be high up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about build quality first of all. I think the build quality is very good, excellent. Checking all over it. It's all very nicely made, put together. BGD have clearly made the BASE 3 to be robust.
Yeah, the construction, it is using more durable materials, generally more durable with the risers and the glider in as a whole.
And they've got the light version, the Breeze, which we'll be reviewing another time.
Generally, the ground handling, the handling of the wing is relatively easy, I would say, for its class, for a high B wing.
Yeah, I think it's very easy. I think particularly it's very easy in strong conditions, like when it's strong and gusty and demanding conditions. Then it is particularly forgiving in those conditions. I think in the light conditions, you just need to remember the welly, basically. You just need to make sure if you just kind of pull it up a bit half-heartedly and then don't pull it up all the way, it is a glider that slightly pauses just near the top.
Yes.
It's not like some wings which have got a real tendency to drop back. It's just a slight pause there, and you need to get it past that.
Yeah,
and
lift it through. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think when you're doing a forward launch, I actually did today. Purposely tried some forward launches when it was really light and thick and we were waiting for the wind to come in, and it does come up really nicely, but you do need to make sure that you just carry on lifting it. But all round really good for the class.
How much have you flown it?
Well, I've actually flown the BASE 3 quite a lot now, several days, quite a wide variety of conditions, everything from light soaring, scratching around to, I've actually had some really nice cross-country flights on it as well, which has been really nice.
Yes.
I've mostly been testing the BASE 3 with a Skywalk range X-ALPS 3 and the standard weight version, and also a little bit with the AV version, and also with the LIGHTNESS 4. couple of others as well, but those are the main ones. How about you? How about you?
So me, well, so I've flown it on a few different days, definitely different conditions. I've had the light to the strong, and flown it with a couple of different pods as well. Reference sort of advanced lightness 4, know it so well, but also Niviuk Arrow P, one of my favourites. So also just to get sort of the different feelings with that. And
the thing that's really standing out to me is just how for this class, high B, just how easy and forgiving the wing is, and especially when the conditions get really punchy and strong and demanding. It's a really solid wing, isn't it? Very solid. It's not kind of BGD actually talk about having this, I'm trying to remember, I can't remember what they call it, but it's the soft wing tips, talkative tips kind of thing. And it certainly it's a good feedback glider. We'll get onto that in a bit more. But it's actually a very solid and collapse resistant glider, but in a good way. It feels just very confidence inspiring and easy for the class.
I agree, and actually, because sometimes we talk about reassuring and wings being on the reassuring dampened side, and this is not that. It's somehow stable and solid, but gives you feeling, moves, tells you what's going on, and gives you the energy. And with the sneaky bit of climb rate as well. So
the climb rate, it's a climber. It's interesting. So I think when you fly a glider, you kind of sometimes have a feeling of performance, and I think when a glider feels a kind of a bit more sporty, that can kind of make you feel like, it must have more performance, because more sporty. But the base 3 feels very reassuring and quite calm, but as you say, not in a kind of dampened, boring way. It's just kind of so soft. It's a little bit softened.
Yes, yeah.
So it's got a soft kind of feeling when you're in the turbulence and stuff like that. But the performance seems really very, very good for the class. Right up at the high end of the B class, the high B class. And climb rate seems really good. I just keep finding myself climbing really, really well on it, and that's in all conditions. So the brake pressure is moderate. It's certainly not very light, but it's kind of moderate, and it's not heavy either, so it's kind of medium pressure. It's not long, and it's not very short.
Agreed. It's moderate and direct, so you know where you are with it, and there's no mushy area. It's kind of you feel where you want to be with it. So that moderate pressure,
quite direct feeling, isn't it?
It is, and that I think that's what's giving that whole overall nice feeling, if I'll just use the word nice.
Nice,
it's that feeling.
It's that word nice. It comes out, but then you kind of like have to quantify nice.
It. Well, it's giving that overall feeling of something this just feels right. It's comfortable, and
it's quite intuitive to fly, isn't it?
That's a good word.
Yeah, it's intuitive to fly. Every time from the first time I've flown it, and ended up climbing out on a tricky climb. The stall point, it's very clear as you pull on the brakes. That we mentioned the brake pressure is moderate. It very clearly firms up, and the stall point, it's very obvious when you're getting nearer the stall point. And then there's a reasonable delay. It's not one of the gliders. I tested another glider recently, a Nova Xenon, and that has a very sharp, sudden stall point. So some gliders have this kind of, and it's gone. That's not at all. With the base, with the base 3, it slows down. It brakes firm up quite a bit, not too heavy. Like the Delta 5 is really quite heavy on the brakes there, and again very forgiving. But then it's kind of really obvious that's the stall point. And then it stalls nicely like that. Did you find that on landing?
It definitely. It was nice pressure through, just moderate pressure through, and then good. But it had that nice positive feeling without that kind of slip into it, so
actually that's a really important point. For me as well, that's a very important point. I think we both agree with that. For gliders, a really important point is their stall behavior, how they behave. That's one of the key things. Often when pilots think they had a collapse, they've actually accidentally stalled or spun their glider in a rough air and didn't realize it, and it's got a very clear and easy forgiving stall point. So great, very good for top landing, slope landing, tricky landings in light thermic conditions. So another big plus for it, I have to say. The tech data, all the design, all the details and more detail about the design features, etc. Check the product description for that. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it because like the DIVA 2, the Base 3, it's quite interesting. It's slightly a bit of a new direction in a way with paragliders. Some of the design features have been done in the past, but it's just been done anew, and it seems to be working very, very well. And that started with the DIVA 2. That's BGD's high D, top performing D class wing. And they've taken that idea, the tech from that. Some of the tech they've taken from it is that the lines are relatively short, and I think that contributes to the very direct handling and very intuitive handling. And the other thing is also less lines. The other thing is the glider's quite high arc, which means that it's got quite a lot of curvature. So low arc, sort of, you can have a glider that's more flat like that, and you do really notice with the wing that they're quite curved. That another feature that's you can see that carries across from the wings is they've got quite raked wing tips, those tips that kind of curve out and then curve out like that, which you tended to see only on more competition higher level wings.
Yeah, it's really noticeable on the DIVA 2.
Yes, very noticeable on that, and it is quite noticeable on that. Another feature I'll mention in brief is that it's got winglets. That's to do with particularly with spiral stability, I believe. But I think the main biggest feature that contributes to the way that the wing flies and I think performs is that high arc and short lines. For me, I think those are the biggest things. It's got this kind of quite soft feeling about the handling. It's not so recently I was testing the Arctic 7P, which is a C-class glider, so it's a class above, and that's got very sharp, direct kind of feeling handling. And the Base 3 feels softer, but it's got a very nice agility.
Agility, definitely.
And when you're going into a thermal, you can really adjust your turn, so you can really adjust where you are in the thermal. You found that?
Absolutely, yeah. You can. It's got that the feeling. You can feel out the moves.
You got the moves.
You got the moves.
You got the moves.
So the glider, although that might also, you might think that we're thinking it kind of mushy and moving around. I don't mean that. No. So it's putting out its feelers, but in a solid-ish way.
Yeah, very solid.
So it's got that kind of drawing you in to the feeling of the air moving and lifting. So I think you can then really sort of get into it and get stuck into it, and then use its great climbability to get up and make the most of it. So
So I think we've made that really clear. It's a great thermaling glider and a really good all-round thermaling. It's very good in even really weak stuff and good in really strong conditions. So that's something I want to talk about. Is that I've flown in some really quite sporty air. It is pretty impressive how well behaved it is. It does remind me of the DIVA 2 in that way, but even more so. The DIVA 2 is a D, so that's definitely more sporty. But the Base 3 is very solid. And it's not leaping and jumping around a lot, very collapse resistant, but somehow giving you that good feedback. So, the speed system, for a start, is pretty light. It's moderate. It's not super light, not quite as light as, say, the Heiko.
Agreed.
And the Heiko P, which are very light.
Yes.
Or the Arctic 7. Yeah. But it is pretty light. It's certainly not on the stiff side. And the glider picks up really good, nice speed. I think it's around 14 kilometers an hour, 15 kilometers an hour over trim. To be honest, not necessarily very accurate, but what I can say is that it picks up a good amount of speed.
I've noticed the same, because it was definitely the stronger days. I kind of needed that little bit extra, it gave me that.
I think a really key point about it is the glider stays very solid on the speed bar, but it doesn't do like the Delta 5, which like tightens up and stiffens right up, which is very impressive. But it doesn't do quite like that. It doesn't go like super taut and stuff like that. It still feels confidence inspiring and nice, but it's definitely picks up a nice bit of speed and has very, very good glide at speed. The leading edge stays completely clean. It's really, really clean. It doesn't have a load of dimpling and fluttering. It's very solid. And the other key thing about it is it's occurring to me is that it's not just about speed, it's how well the glider glides at speed in terms of through chop. And it's really very good. The glider is keeping very solid and efficient. It's not kind of sort of moving about and pitching around. It's really cutting through nicely.
Yeah, efficient. Yes, agreed.
I found flying on the speed system using the rear risers. You can also use the rear risers a bit if you're just wanting to use those a bit for a little bit of turning and stuff like that. But the BC bridge system, they've made it very sort of clean and simple and without sticks on it, so it's not got line catchers on there, and it's very easy to manage on the ground, isn't it?
It is. It's actually...
You kind of don't notice it on the ground.
Agreed. Personally, I think I prefer it generally to the sticks. It's just sort of, because it's just there and you can use it if you want to use it.
With the Base 3, they've clearly decided to give the glider, I mean, it's got very, very good performance. It's very clever, but they've definitely made it quite accessible and easy for the high B class. It's definitely somebody progressing from a low B wing to a high B. The Base 3 is definitely a candidate for that. It's not a hot B. It's a very accessible high B. I think they've done the right thing to just have that kind of simpler system, but it does work really well.
Yeah.
One little tip specifically to the Base 3, but maybe carries across, is that what I found is that you make sure to get the best out of it. If you pull back on the BC bridge, which may sound obvious, but if you pull back on it, then you're going to slightly make the glider crease back on there. And also it's more physical. So if you hold the BC and you pull, make sure you're pulling almost slightly forward, but pretty much straight down.
Yeah.
And it's definitely more efficient and easier and works better.
Yeah.
That's it. So big ears, it does both classic big ears with the outer A's and also the tip stalls. The classic big ears work very easily. There isn't kind of webbing out to A lines. There's just they're sort of the Dyneema lines. They're quite thick lines there. Very easy to reach up and pull in and come in, sit nice and stable. Don't flap about much. They're effective, and when you let go, they kind of slowly come out, and then you can pump them out.
Yeah, they sort of, as you say, easy to put in. A good amount comes in. It's stable, which is definitely. I wish most gliders had the same thing with the speeds. It's just to give people that confidence of using big ears. It shouldn't be something to be frightened of. Use them, come in nicely, and then I found it just sort of rolled out. I think the couple of times that I've done them, a few times I've done them, it's a non-event on them coming out. I didn't really feel like, oh, need to give it any kind of pumping.
They don't stick in or something like that. No. That works nicely. And the glider also stays really nice and stable. The Base 3 does do the tip stalls, so that's using the outer C lines, and it does do them, but they're quite physical to pull in, and it pulls in quite a bit of the glider. I felt like it was a bit resistant to doing it, and definitely for that I felt like you want to put on at least a third to a half bar just to make sure that you're not going to accidentally stall the glider. And then it was quite physical to hold in. They are effective because they pull in quite big, but I think overall they're a bit physical to pull in, and it seems like, I don't know, it felt to me like the glider wasn't that happy doing them. I think, if I remember correctly, BGD don't mention the tip stalls in the manual, and I think overall it's a glider I definitely do big ears on, because they're so easy and they work so well. They work really well. If you really want to get down fast, well, very quick with spiral dives. Very simple explanation. It's a very easy glider to go around and get into spirals. It's just very manageable. It's very controllable. The spiral is the G's are actually not that high, because I think that's likely the short lines. And so I think actually relatively it's got a bit lower G's than your standard glider with longer lines for the class. And also maybe also too with the winglets, but as you're going into the spiral and then we want to come out, it comes out nice and easy. I did found no tendency at all for it to sort of lock in and hold into the spiral, and very controllable exit.
Yeah.
Wingovers, it's very fun actually. Yeah, and because of that sort of, it's got this kind of agility it feels at first a little bit, the turns feel a little bit rolly, but it's not too rolly, that you can make the glider turn really nice and flat. That's what they've done to make it turn nicely. And when you're doing wingovers, you can really make the glider wang round and roll, and because it's really solid and collapse resistant and sort of very easy, just makes wingovers really fun.
Yeah.
The pilots are going to really appreciate the Base 3, I think, are pilots who are definitely, they're looking for really good performance. They want to fly cross country. They want to fly really good distances. And they're also going to fly locally, but then they want to do really well. They're looking for very good performance in the high B class. Tick, it's definitely got that. And they want a glider that's an all-rounder, and that's great as well, and it does do very well for that. But it's kind of also, they want something that's, it's got good agility and good handling, but it's definitely a bit more on the reassuring and sort of calmer side.
Yeah.
Rather than, some gliders might feel a little bit more like the handling might just feel a little bit sharper, like the Ikuma 3 comes to my mind,
Yes,
or the Maestro 2.
Yeah.
Those just have a little bit of sharpness.
Yeah, they're the more
handling.
Sporty kind of handling.
Yes, I'd say.
So, yeah.
So that's something. And the only point which we mentioned in brief earlier that I'd say with the base, which is kind of something to be aware of, really, but it's also that it has that thing as it comes up with a slight pause at about this position there, but it's not a really big pause, and it's something to be aware of. Really, mainly when we talked about launching in a very light, fickle wind.
Yeah.
So you're in Colombia.
Yes.
And it's that light thermic side wind.
Yeah.
And all you need to do then is just make sure you carry on getting the glider up past that point, and then it comes up really nicely. So that's the only thing. So you could say that, like, that's just one little point you could be slightly better on.
Yeah, and actually, another point would be for packing. So it doesn't come with a concertina bag.
Good point.
We put concertina bags straight away with our test ones. What I did notice with the different harnesses that I was using, suddenly my bag is a little bit tighter. So the volume of the glider. I mean, I mentioned just obviously the difference is it's not heavy, but it is more durable.
Yeah.
So overall, there is, I think, a bit more volume to it, and rods.
I think you're right. I think that's a very good point. So it's not the lightest glider, and they've definitely made the glider to be more on that safety, solidity first. Then it's performance and how it flies, and then I think with the base 3, the lightness and compactness is definitely further down the line, because it is actually, you're right, that's a very good point. It is a little bit on the bulky side. At the end of the day, you've got to decide your priorities. I think, it depends. If you really want the lighter glider, then you'll be looking at the Breeze.
Yeah, that's it.
There's no one wing for everybody, so it's a case of trying to share with you the bits that you can't read about on the tech specs and stuff like that, our feelings and our opinion about the wing. So hope you've enjoyed that. And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Okay, and so that's all from us in this video, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
See you
again. Bye!